The first thing you learn, living in a house like us, is to ignore the whispers, not the little ones, though there are plenty of those too. Hushed conversations behind closed doors. The rustle of silk in the dead of night. No, I mean the whispers of doubt, the tiny, insistent questions that prick at the edges of your sanity. Questions like, why does the master only ever emerge after dusk? Or, where does all this ancient wealth truly come from? My name is Toba, and I am part of the Familia. Not by choice, not really. We are revenants, you see, born into this service. Our lineage stretching back further than any family tree could possibly record. Our duty, passed down through generations, is to maintain the Master's secret life. It's a life of opulent shadows, of ancient rituals, and of a chilling, preternatural beauty that masks something far older and more monstrous than human comprehension. Our home, Blackwood Manor, is a testament to centuries of hidden influence. It's a sprawling Gothic edifice, all dark wood and stained glass, perpetually cool even in summer. The air always carries a faint, metallic scent, like old coins and something else, something vital. We, the Familia, move through its labyrinthine halls like ghosts, each of us with our assigned roles. My aunt, a drudge, manages the mundane affairs, ensuring the illusion of normalcy for the outside world. My cousin, a ghoul, bears the telltale pallor and unnerving devotion that comes from the Master's vita. A bond that compels absolute loyalty, a twisted love that is both artificial and inescapable. I, the youngest, was meant to be a familiar, to be his eyes and ears in the daylight world, a spy who could report telepathically, difficult to expose, but I resisted the full bonding, clinging to the last vestiges of my own will, a foolish defiance that only deepened my terror. The Master himself, he is a being of impossible grace. His skin, pale as moonlight, seems to absorb the light rather than reflect it. His eyes, ancient and knowing, hold a depth that speaks of centuries lived, of a detached perspective on human history. He moves with a speed that defies the eye, a strength that could shatter bone, yet often he is still observing, a silent predator in the heart of our home. He is the architect of shadows, and we, his familia, are merely his tools. For years, I rationalized the oddities. The guests arrived late at night, vibrant and full of life, only to depart days later, pale and listless, their memories hazy. And Clara would explain it away as a bout of the flu or stress from their travels, the Master's nocturnal habits. He is a man of letters, a scholar who prefers the quiet of the night. The vast, inexplicable wealth that flowed into our accounts, funding our lavish lifestyle. Old family money. Dear, very old. I clung to these explanations, desperate to believe in an ordinary world that was, in truth, a mirage.
You're watching Is It Real? Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, unless you want to regret ignoring me.
The whispers, however, grew louder. They started after the incident with young Thomas. He was a new stable boy, full of youthful exuberance. One evening, I saw him laughing with the Master in the courtyard, a rare, unsettling sight. The Master's smile, usually a thin, polite curve, was wider, almost predatory. The next morning, Thomas was gone, and Clara said he'd left suddenly for a family emergency. But I found his favorite riding crop, meticulously cleaned, leaning against the stable door, and a single, dark stain on the cobblestones that no amount of scrubbing could truly erase. It was a subtle contradiction, a familiar thing presented in an unfamiliar way, and it made my stomach clench with a profound unease. That was my inciting incident. It isolated me, not physically, but emotionally, from the rest of the Familia who seemed to accept these disappearances with a chilling resignation. I started watching. I saw the master esplash of life, the ability to mimic human warmth and heartbeat, flicker, revealing the ashen pallor beneath. I noticed how his humanity score seemed to diminish with each passing month, his eyes growing colder, more detached. Less concerned with the senseless murder he sometimes committed, he viewed humans as resources, as cattle. One night, driven by a morbid curiosity I couldn't suppress, I followed him. He descended into the deepest part of the manor, a section of the cellars I'd always been forbidden to enter. The air grew heavy, thick with the scent of damp earth and something else, something ancient and cloying. I found a hidden passage, concealed behind a tapestry depicting a grotesque, fanged creature. The passage led to a vast, subterranean chamber, not a cellar, but a crypt. Here, the eerie was palpable, something present where there should be nothing. Ancient sarcophagi lined the walls, some crumbling, others strangely pristine, and in the center, a large, ornate coffin, carved with symbols I didn't recognize, symbols that seemed to writhe in the dim light. He was there, standing over a prone figure, a young woman, her face pale, her throat bared. He wasn't seducing her, as some tales suggest. He was simply taking. The sound was a soft, rhythmic clapping, a sound that will forever haunt my nightmares. This was my meeting the monster moment. The reality I thought I knew shattered. He was not merely eccentric. He was a vampire, an ancient one, a creature of primal hunger. The horror intensified as I realized the depth of our family's complicity. The stolen blood from the bank that sometimes appeared in the master's private stores. The criminal empire he subtly influenced through various retainers and herd members. We, the Familia, were not just servants. We were enablers. We were the cover-ups, the gaslighting that kept his existence a secret. My ancestors, the Revenants, had passed down not just a duty, but a profound moral compromise, a legacy of inherited trauma. The choices became agonizing. Do I expose him? But then what? The masquerade would break, and we, his Familia, would face his wrath, or worse, the swift and brutal mob justice of humanity. My own life, my family's survival, depended on maintaining this horrifying secret. The dilemma was a constant. Knowing pain, the needs of the vampire or our twisted family unit versus the needs of the many innocent humans. There were no right solutions and no wrong solutions.
Be sure to like, subscribe to Is It Real, and share this video. But if you choose to ignore me, well, let's just say you've been warned.
Just solutions with both positive and negative outcomes. I found myself performing tasks I once would have recoiled from, managing the illicit resources, subtly misleading curious outsiders, even, once, disposing of a package. Each act chipped away at my humanity, blurring the lines between victim and accomplice. The master's influence wasn't just physical, it was psychological, warping my perception of morality. He spoke of humans as inferior, as cattle, and a part of me, a terrifying, corrupted part, began to understand. The secret life of the ancient vampire is not just his, it is ours. It is woven into the very fabric of Blackwood Manor, into the bloodline of the Familia. I am no longer just Toba. I am a keeper of the secret, a participant in the hidden atrocities. The cosmic dread is real, the terrifying realization that human concerns are insignificant in the face of such ancient, alien power. The whispers have stopped. Now, there is only the chilling silence of complicity, and the knowledge that the darkness I once sought to unveil has now become my own. The horror is not just that he exists, but that I, too, have become a part of his shadow.